With me today, I have a brand new 2019 Lexus RX 350 F Sport. Now the RX 350 is arguably the most important SUV or car Lexus sells today, and that's because they sell over 110,000 of these each and every year. In terms of the mid-size luxury SUV market, no one comes close. Traditionally in the past, Lexus have made RXs really bland in styling, very neutral, and people still flock to them because they were very comfortable, very spacious, and also very reliable. None of that changed, but in 2016, Lexus decided to do something about the styling. It's no longer bland, it's no longer neutral. It's very edgy, it's very in your face, and this made a huge difference in sales figures. So today I'm going to review this RX 350 for you guys, show you the ins and outs, also go for a drive, and finally conclude with the good, the bad, and the ugly, so you guys could decide if this is the right SUV for you. Stay tuned. So let's start out by looking at a side view to this RX 350. I count no less than 8 creases on the side body panels, and it definitely shows that Lexus didn't want that curviness or the neutral or the bland look. They wanted to make it look very edgy, very aggressive, and I do think it works. It looks fantastic in my eyes. And also what looks fantastic is the contrasting going on. Just take a look. You got this beautiful white metallic paint, you got painted black mirrors, you got the privacy glass that goes all the way back to the tailgate, then you got aluminum and chrome, the aluminum roof rack, you got the chrome window surround, you got some chrome over here, right? This contrasting looks fantastic. And these wheels, these are specific F Sport wheels, 20-inch, they're like a shadow chrome color, and again, it adds to the contrast, which I love. Now, one thing I did want to point out, and this may be a negative for some of you guys, but somehow on this RX 350, it works for me, and that is the unpainted panels. You got some unpainted trim panels here around the wheel well and also toward the bottom of the rocker panel. You know, for most cars, I would say that looks kind of cheap. It doesn't look right, but somehow with the contrasting on this RX 350, it looks right to me. So moving on to the front, it's just as aggressive, if not more so, than the side. Let's start out by looking at this huge spindle grille, okay? This is what Lexus puts on all their SUVs and cars these days. You got a large Lexus emblem that's kind of shadowed out, which actually looks really good. You got 360 camera here, a couple of parking sensors over there. Then move on over here, take a look at the headlights. You got this Nike swoosh kind of looking daytime running lights. You got washers. And then take a look at the rest of this bumper. This is F Sport specific, which adds to the aggressiveness, and there's a lot of going on. So let me show you. So there's a lot of layers. First of all, you look at a spindle grille, you got kind of this like shadow chrome that's going across that ends over here. Then you got more chrome down here, but it's cut off by this lip, kind of this gray piece that's going across, right? And it definitely sticks out. You'll notice it. And on the side here, you got more chrome, you got the fog light, and you got more trim that's going down here, right? So you definitely have a lot of going on, and you got a lot of edges, sharp edges like this, that's all across, and that is done on purpose because Lexus wanted this to be in your face, unlike any of the previous generations. Now, it's obvious that Lexus is targeting the younger market with this kind of aggressiveness, but it's working because sales figures are through the roof. Take a glance at this rear end and compare it to some of the previous generations' rear end. Definitely a big difference, right? The previous generations, the rear end was just really blah, and it just seemed like Lexus didn't know how to design a rear end, but this is completely different. Very edgy, very aggressive, also very angry looking, right? Take a look at these taillights. The way they're sloping down just makes it look like the car's angry at something. I don't know what, but it is smoked, blacked out, so I do like that. Also, the rear tailgate glass is also completely blacked out for privacy. You got a chrome piece here, big Lexus emblem, and then take a look at the bottom bumper. You do have these nice chrome surround for the exhaust pieces, and of course you get an F Sport badge because this is an F Sport. In my opinion, I like this styling a lot, and I think Lexus did an amazing job at the rear end compared to the previous generations. So here's a look at the trunk. It's plenty big, but it's a little deceiving because of the top glass, which I will show you in a little bit. But in terms of width and depth, there's plenty of it. Big boxes, groceries, luggage, whatever you want to put back here, no problems. You could see the rear seat backs, right? You do have 3 tethers for every single individual seat. And let me show you on the side here. Over here, you do have the levers to pull down the seats. You do have a first aid kit. This is actually a net that goes across if you wanted a net to put your groceries in, right? And then over here, you do have a sub. You have an outlet over here. And then underneath the carpet, you do have a spare tire and just some extra space. Overall, this is a good amount of space, but I said it's deceiving because take a look. Because of how much the glass cuts off, right? You can't put large boxes over here or luggage. They'll fit all the way in the back, but if you're putting something tall, like let's say over here, it's going to hit the glass, right? So even though this is wide, it's deep, it's not very tall, so you got to keep that in mind. So if you're trying to fill this with large boxes, bikes, a lot of luggage, you might have a problem with it when you try to close the tailgate. So in terms of the tailgate, you could set the height, you could also close it obviously from here, and you could press it twice to lock it. All right, I'm in the second row and there is an enormous amount of space back here. I mean, absolutely enormous. I'm 5'10". Take a look, this is my sitting position. There's a good 6 to 8 inches over here. So if you're on the taller side, no problem. Same thing with headroom, with plenty of it. And because this is an F Sport, you could see that this contrast, this red leather with black and this chrome pieces, aluminum pieces, looks absolutely stunning. And it feels very, very comfortable. But outside the looks and space, do you get anything else? Unfortunately, there's a lot of little things lacking, such as USB ports. There's none back here. You do get one cigarette outlet. That's pretty much it. You get a couple of climate vents. So you don't get USB ports back here. You don't get climate control back here. There's no rear entertainment option. Lexus wants you to utilize tablets because that's the way they see it. So you don't get that as an option. You don't get rear sunshades. So a lot of little things like that is definitely missing. But what's not missing is the comfort and space because it is very comfortable back here and very spacious. And the seats also adjustable. You can move them forwards and backwards quite a bit, and they of course recline forwards and backwards as well. And let me show you the center armrest, and also with the car seat installed, how much space there's still left back here. So take a look at these gorgeous looking red leather seats. I mean, it just looks fantastic and it feels very good too. So moving on to the armrest, you do have just space for whatever you want to put in there, and also a couple of cup holders. And take a look, this is a really large car seat, a Recaro car seat. And take a look at how much space is still left. For those of you guys that have families, that have kids, you know, you're worried about not enough space for car seats. That is not a problem in this RX 350. And you do get 2 sets of seat latches, one on both sides. So over here, you just get a cigarette outlet and you get the pair of vents, and you got some space to put whatever you want. I'm in the front. Take a look from the door panel to the center console, to the media center, to the gauge cluster. I mean, everything looks very, very nice. And that contrast I told you guys about only gets better here. Take a look at the center console here. It looks absolutely gorgeous. This kind of like brushed aluminum trim here. In the middle, you got black, you got this analog clock. I mean, everything here just looks really outstanding. So let's start out with the steering wheel. This is pretty traditional. Looks like all the other Lexus steering wheels, with the exception, because this is an F Sport, you could see that there are red stitching along the insides, which look really nice. It feels nice too. Then you got buttons here to kind of control what's going on in the gauge cluster. So over here you control the volume up and down. This controls the media center over there. This is for the phone. Over here, this is all about the menu over there. If you take a look in the middle here, it's kind of deceiving. This is not analog, this is digital inside. This is analog and that is digital. And what's cool is over here, when you do change the drive mode, let's say you change it to eco, you can see eco mode, but then over here you could go to sport and sport plus, and the gauge does change, so that's pretty cool. And in the menu here, that's pretty standard: miles per hour, your radio, navigation, and lane keep assist, on or off, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can scroll through. Moving on here, this is optional 12.3-inch media screen. It is absolutely huge, and it's indented for a reason. You can't really reach it because it's not touch. Everything is controlled through this. Now, this has to be, in my opinion, the weak spot to this RX 350, because there's a whole lot of good things going on, but this makes it very cumbersome to go into certain things left and right, and to zoom in and out. Just takes a lot of getting used to. And there's been times where I'm trying to find something, I'm trying to move from one space to another, and it's just not working well. So Lexus tries to make it a little bit simple. You have a back button, you can zoom in and out. You can click this to get maps, menu, and then there's you can press down on this, or you can press a button on the side to kind of go in. But still, the whole process is just very cumbersome. It would be a whole lot better if this was just replaced with just maybe a few buttons and the screen being touch screen. And guess what? And that is one of the things that is going to change for the 2020 RX 350. They are moving this whole screen forward a little bit so that you can control it through touch or through this. Over here, you do have auto high beam. This is for the tailgate, heads up display, heated steering wheel, and the 360 view. Now, let me show you this because this is really cool. So if you press that button, so here you can see it's a 360 view of your car. That is really, really cool. So utilizing all the cameras around your car, it'll do a 360 view. Not only does it spin around, then it shows you exactly what it looks like from the top of your car. Now, if you go into reverse, it gives you that view on the side, and it shows you what's behind you. Okay, moving on, you got traditional stick shift, really good. You don't have to relearn it. Just go down if you want to go to drive, go up to park. You don't have to press any button or worry about anything like that. If you want to do manual, you can just go to the side, boom, that's done. I don't know why other manufacturers just don't do that, why they have to complicate it. Over here, you got brake hold. This is for the electronic parking. And then you have heated and cool seats, 3 levels, or you could just simply put it into auto. Now over here, this is pretty standard. Climate controls, dual climate zone. Over here, this is how you control your media, right? And you got an analog clock. Now moving here, the cup holders, 2 large cup holders. What's interesting is there's a push button here. And what happens? Well, that happens. So if you have a small drink, okay, that's fine. But let's say you have a huge 32-ounce drink that's very deep, this will actually push in like so. You could leave it like that, but if you did want to, you press this and that comes up. I haven't really seen that before. Over here, you do get another outlet. There's no USB over here. I will show you where that is. And over here is just some space. There is an optional wireless charging setup that you can get that would go over here. Now this controls the drive mode. You could go eco, sport, sport plus, or customize it. This is for center differential lock, and this is for turning on or off traction control. Now over here, you can control your garage, right? This is the home link setup. Up here, everything, all the lights is touch, okay? So you can see that's pretty cool. And then you got SOS. And then this controls the panoramic sunroof. If you want to open this to let light in, that's what you would use this for. As you can see, and it is massive, goes all the way to the back. And then this is how you would open it. There we go. So kind of like a two-step process depending on what you want to do. All right, let's go for a drive and see how this RX 350 behaves on the road. Now, first impression is it doesn't feel like an SUV. And what I mean by that, the cabin, the way Lexus designed this cabin feels very cozy, feels very car-like. Specifically with the center console right here. Most SUVs is further down, But here in the RX, it's very high up. It makes you feel like you're in a car, and I actually like it. I like it a lot. It's very different from the other SUVs I've driven. So first impression is it kind of feels like a car, but you do sit a little bit higher. This is not the highest riding SUV out there. I would say it's probably more on the lower end, but it does feel like a button-down, cozy ride, and that's actually a really good thing. Now, when I say cozy, doesn't mean that it feels tight. No, plenty of shoulder room, hip room. Take a look, headroom, plenty of it. There's a lot of space. Visibility is great. Front, sides, rear, nothing is getting in the way. Even the headrests from the rear, they're more on the side. So the middle is wide open. It's not blocking the view, so that is outstanding. Something I want to point out that's a little weird, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's not, but the mirrors on the side seem like they're too up close. I'm used to most cars, the mirrors are more down, right? So that it just seems like it's a little bit further away from you. These mirrors are actually really close. Now, blind spot warning is on both sides. So the mirrors do light up when something's in your blind spot, but because the warning light is very small at the very tip, sometimes you don't see that. And specifically on this one, because I feel like how close the mirror is, I actually missed that for some reason. So just something to be aware of. Now, in terms of the brakes, I just came to a stop. I do feel like the brake catches on a bit early. Feels more electronic to me, right? So you don't get that full linear feel. It's kind of like you step on it and then it stops immediately. So it does catch on very early, but the SUV does stop pretty quickly. Now, this RX 350 is equipped with an 8-speed automatic. The engine is a 3.5 liter V6, pretty powerful, 295 horsepower, almost 270 foot-pounds of torque. But I do notice that at low speeds, Lexus tuned it to try to save on gas, so it kind of sticks on the higher gears. So sometimes when you slow down or you're starting off really slow, it feels a little underpowered because you're not in those lower gears, you're in the higher gears. So that's a little bit irritating. Right now, in terms of quietness, very quiet as you would expect from a Lexus. So don't really hear anything, no road noise, no wind noise. When the radio's off, it's pretty much complete silence, so that's good. Now, because this is an F-Sport, these seats are specific F-Sport seats. Now, not only do they have this nice looking design and color, but it also has more bolsters to hold you in. Not that you're going to really track this SUV, but if you wanted to make a few hard corners, you can. The back, definitely very comfortable. I do feel the seat hold me in on my back, which is really nice. Now, the bottom cushion does that, but I feel like it's a little bit too narrow. Say my left thigh seems like it's sticking out. So even though the seat does hold you in, it feels comfortable, but I feel like the bottom bolster is a little bit too narrow or too aggressive. Now, one thing that's really surprising, and this is a good surprise, is that the steering wheel does not feel very light. Now, traditionally, Lexuses have been really light in terms of their steering, and this is catering to their crowd. A lot of people do like that light steering. But in this Lexus, kind of mixed. It's not very, very light. It's not super light. It's you got somewhat of a heavy feel to it. It's not on extreme end. It's not like a BMW or Audi in terms of steering, but you do feel it. It's a bit more engaging. And I do like that. So those of you guys that do like a bit more, engaged driving, I should say, or a little bit more aggressiveness, this has it. This has it. Let's see how well this 295 horsepower does. So in terms of acceleration. it's kind of in the middle of the pack. It doesn't feel very fast, but it doesn't feel very slow either. So this 295 horsepower engine, kind of just like right in the middle. It's just adequate. So in terms of safety features, you have it all. Auto braking forwards and backwards. You got blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, cross detection in the rear. I mean, pretty much everything you could think of. For semi-autonomous driving, this car has a little bit of that. I mean, this SUV. Now, in terms of semi-autonomous driving, a little bit of that, because if you do use adaptive cruise control and then you turn on this lane keep assist, it does steer your car somewhat in the middle of the lane. So on the highway, you can kind of just let this car drive by itself, but you do need to keep your hands on the wheel, otherwise it will tell you and deactivate. So in terms of semi-autonomous driving, it has a little bit of that, and it does help on long cruises. Now, this RX does have the specially tuned F-Sport suspension, which kind of tighten things up quite a bit. So because of that, you do have a firmer ride, especially with these 20-inch wheels. Little bumps could be felt a bit more, but the trade-off is you do have a better handling SUV. So when you're taking those harder corners, it does feel like there's less body roll. The precision from the steering wheel is a lot tighter. So you do have that trade-off. I mean, after driving this thing around, I get why so many people flock to RX 350s. Honestly, when you're driving here, it's just a comfortable car. I mean, it honestly is. It makes you feel like you're driving a car, not an SUV, but of course you get the benefits of SUV, a larger trunk, all-wheel drive system, you sit higher, right? But when you're inside, the cabin feels a lot like a car. And while you're driving around, it's very quiet, it's very spacious, it's comfortable, and you know you have that Lexus reliability. So I definitely get why so many people flock to this RX 350.
Alright, let's conclude with the good, the bad, and the ugly about this RX 350. In terms of the good, the aggressive exterior styling, the beautiful interior, the F-Sport upgrades, which include seats, styling, and suspension, spaciousness and comfort, good miles per gallon, including the use of regular fuel, and Lexus reliability. As for the bad, there's also a few. Low speed power due to the transmission and how it's programmed. The wheels and F-Sport package does bring more bumps. The second row lacks options. The trunk space height. The mid-cycle refresh is coming. And lastly, the entertainment controls. Overall, the RX 350 is a great option, and those of you guys that are looking for a mid-sized luxury SUV, you definitely want to check this one out. Now, the F-Sport package RX 350, the MSRP is around $60,000, but because a mid-cycle refresh is coming, Lexus is giving out substantial discounts at this point in time. So thanks for watching, and make sure you check out some of my other videos, including some of the other Lexuses I have reviewed. Take care. Bye-bye.